Today is the day our village celebrates the collective demolition with a victory banquet.
I hit the jackpot and won the top-of-the-line luxury RV.
But the village chief's niece, Aria, only drew a cave in the back mountain and abandoned mine shaft. She threw a tantrum right then and there. The village chief pressured and persuaded me.
And since I'm an orphan with no one to back me up,
I had to swap with her. Who would have thought, a week later, the acid rain apocalypse hit. Along with it, came a massive wave of zombies. Aria drove the RV everywhere, but the vehicle got corroded by the acid rain and broke down halfway. She was surrounded by zombies and ultimately died by their bite. Meanwhile, I accidentally discovered the mine shaft that the previous mining team had left a shelter. It's not only sturdy and durable, earthquake resistant, but also stocked with tons of supplies. I relied on it to hide from the acid rain and fend off zombies, living a fairly stable life. But later, out of jealousy, Aria, before she died, told the villagers the secret of my shelter. I, being soft-hearted for a moment, let them into my home. Not only did they rob me of my supplies, but they also kicked me out. I ended up dying in a zombie horde. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the lottery day. I turned my head and immediately met Aria's gaze, full of resentment, venom, and jealousy. I instantly knew she had also been reborn. She still drew that abandoned mine shaft in the back mountain.
The villagers muttered that she was so disappointed she'd lost her mind. Only I knew she was coveting my shelter.
Wanting to snatch this life-saving method for the apocalypse, the villagers urged me to hand over the RV. The village chief, heartbroken, started cursing me out directly. And the village bully, Vishwan, who's always had a crush on Aria, even threatened, saying if anything happened to Aria's mental state,
he'd make me pay.
His lackey, the local thug Goshing, chimed in, saying at Vishwan's command, he'd break my legs. More and more villagers around me started blaming me. The scene was exactly like my previous life. But suddenly, Aria interrupted everyone, declaring firmly that she wanted the abandoned mine shaft. When her glance swept over me, her eyes were full of smugness. Auntie Lou, the biggest gossip, puzzled, pressed her for details. She didn't dare mention the rebirth, so she pretended to be pitiful, saying it held childhood memories for her, and that this place was where their village started. As a relative of the village chief, she felt it was her duty to protect this place for everyone. After saying this, the villagers even praised her for not forgetting her roots. I watched her put on this act, just disgusted. I didn't expose her.
Calmly put the RV keys in my bag. As we passed, she sneered.
Leaned in and whispered, in the last life,
you stole my privileged life.
This time, you'll end up like I did before, bitten to death by zombies, bitten to death while I survived the apocalypse safely. I pretended not to understand, but inwardly laughed.
This shelter seems safe, but it's a death trap.
The villagers' greed is beyond her imagination. If the secret leaks,
she'll face hellish torment.
I hurried to the RV, shut the door, and called Oldley, the richest man in the next village, to gather funds for supplies before the apocalypse. I decided to sell all my assets.
I offered a 20% discount,
but demanded the deal close in 3 days. Oldley paused, then agreed.
After hanging up, I spent the night applying for loans on every lending app available,
but only raised $3 million. It wasn't enough. Remembering my past life, I knew gold would start starting tomorrow.
So I used all the money to buy gold, hoping to get rich overnight this time. Using my past life knowledge, I traded gold.
Watching over 100 million cash on my bank account. Sitting in the RV, I started planning how to use the money to survive the apocalypse. Building a super shelter
would make me a stationary target.
Hiring ex-military bodyguards was risky. People turn in the apocalypse.
I'd likely be betrayed. As I worried, curious, I pressed it. The wheel glowed faintly. Compelled, I placed my palm on it. The RV flashed bright white. When the light faded, a small spirit appeared before me. It said if I made a contract with it, I'd unlock the RV's hidden system. Completing its tasks would grant random rewards, my key to survival.
I was stunned, but quickly agreed to cooperate. This unknown spirit felt more reliable than humans.
The moment we contracted,
on the contrary, it reassured me that the moment when the contract was signed. My first mission, the RV renovation program, has also begun.
Claiming I, a woman, needed a heavy armored vehicle.
Women want to drive to war-torn countries on business.
Something tank-like.
Using the need for security as my reason, I paid 10 times the price
to have my RV remodeled into a 3-story structure.
I demanded they finish in just 2 days, and considering the enhanced strength of the mutated zombies, I also paid a fortune to hire retired special forces soldiers to outfit my RV with weapons. The first level has a plow to clear obstacles. On the second level, I installed powerful remote-controlled turrets. The third level
features fully automated gun turrets to fend off attacks.
I also mounted 20 hidden cameras outside,
so I can monitor everything outside.
All the windows were replaced with bulletproof glass,
and even the tires were modified,
using tank-grade tracks to handle any terrain with ease. Finally, I replaced the doors with double-layer blast-proof doors that required different passwords and fingerprints to open. Additionally, the sprite thoughtfully prepared a special anti-corrosion paint that fully resists acid rain. I coated the entire exterior, including the tires, with this special material. Aunt Lou from the same village, seeing my massive setup, mocked me sarcastically, saying I flaunt my wealth recklessly, but I ignored her. Right in front of her, I casually tossed out a case of cash. The workers, seeing stacks of cash, worked even harder, their pace noticeably faster. Aunt Lou was green with envy. After the modifications were done,
I purchased the world's most advanced
self-circulating water filtration system to solve water supply issues.
With all this complete, my first reward was officially issued.
Because I successfully modified the RV, the system rewarded me by unlocking the pastoral alternate space. I immediately entered the alternate space and found before me about 10 acres of land. In the center was a pre-cultivated field, on the left a small fish pond, and on the right a small farmhouse. The sprite also explained that all life in this pastoral space not only grows 10 times faster than outside, but may also have special effects. Furthermore, by completing specific tasks, this pastoral system can be upgraded infinitely,
expanding in area and unlocking more zones.
Considering this was my first completed task, it offered me an extra bonus. With a whistle from it, a giant warehouse suddenly appeared.
The vast space
is enough to store all the supplies I'll ever need. I immediately left the alternate space, drove to the city, and shopped frantically, even buying out 2 large supermarkets completely. I looked at thousands of barrels of mineral water and boxes of compressed biscuits, instant noodles, pet food, and anti-inflammatory drugs. There were also essential sanitary products for women, as well as gasoline and fuel. My heart was filled with a sense of security. Finally, I went to the seed store in town. I bought wholesale seeds for various vegetables and fruits. I also bought hundreds of fish fry from Brother Zhao, a farmer in the neighboring village, hundreds of eggs and dozens of chickens, and a few small pigs, cows, and sheep.
I believe that with the pastoral system
and my previous farming experience, I can be self-sufficient in the RV and live out my old age in peace. Finally, I purchased at a high price through black market channels, guns, ammunition, and bulletproof vests, as well as drones for reconnaissance and transportation.
Time came to the last day before the acid rain apocalypse.
An unprecedented sense of security enveloped me. I knew I already had the capital to fight against the apocalypse. I started checking the surveillance. Everything around the RV was normal.
The village was as peaceful and serene as usual.
Just as I was about to turn off the surveillance, I noticed not far away, Dazhuang and Goxing were staring intently at my RV, as if plotting something, even from dozens of meters away.
I could still feel their malice and greed.
I instantly tensed up. Although the apocalypse hadn't arrived yet,
the villagers' hostility had come early. I prepared to drive away, but an unexpected incident occurred.
The apocalypse hadn't arrived yet, but my RV was already surrounded by the villagers. It turned out that just as I was about to drive away from the local thug Dazhuang and his gang, Aunt Lu suddenly appeared in front of my RV. She pretended to be knocked down by me and lay in front of my RV, and shouted for me to pay compensation. It turned out, Aunt Lu saw me spending money lavishly recently, and concluded that I had come into a windfall, so she tried to extort money from me by staging a fake accident.
Aria, seeing this scene,
immediately started fanning the flames and loudly called nearby villagers, saying I intentionally injured Aunt Lu and refused to pay compensation, and was preparing to drive away. The villagers, seeing this, all gathered around, demanding that I get out and give an explanation. Aria, seeing they had the numbers, demanded that I immediately get out of the RV and apologize to Aunt Lu. Otherwise, she would have the villagers smash my RV. Dazhuang and Goxing, hearing Aria's words, didn't hesitate at all. They immediately brought shovels, hoes, and other farming tools, preparing to attack my RV. I didn't want to get entangled with them any further, and besides,
money would become worthless today.
I rolled down the window. Then I forcefully threw out a handful of cash. Aunt Lu, who had been wailing on the ground just moments ago, immediately got up and started picking up the scattered money. The group of agitated villagers, at this moment, also began scrambling for the money. Dazhuang and Goxing reached out to grab some too, but a single glare from Aria stopped them in their tracks.
She ordered them to attack my RV, vowing to make me pay.
Dazhuang didn't hesitate,
swinging a shovel straight at my car door. With a loud bang,
the shovel was sent flying from his hands. Dazhuang's palms went numb from the impact, yet the door didn't even have a scratch. Meanwhile, Goxing
was knocked back by the recoil,
landing flat on his butt. Just as
I thought they'd give up, and this farce would end, Aria suddenly spoke up,
throwing me back into despair.
In her past life, Aria's greed had led to her own death.
Reborn, she swore,
to eliminate anyone who knew the secret of her shelter. To track my movements, she'd long ago planted spyware on my phone. That's how she
found out about my gold trading fortune. She incited the villagers to surround me, revealing I'd made at least 100 million from gold trading, and demanding I pay 5 million in compensation. The villagers, who'd just been fighting over cash,
hearing such an astronomical sum, stopped dead in their tracks. Their anger turned toward me. Some played good cop, some bad cop, while a few elders
even glared at me with bloodshot eyes, cursing my selfishness, accusing me of hoarding wealth. I considered paying them off, but realized the money I'd given Aunt Lu was my last remaining asset. The villagers refused to believe it. They grabbed their tools, hammering my vehicle. Uncle Wang, Aunt Lu's husband, even drove over in a tractor, ramming my RV repeatedly. Though I had weapons, I couldn't bring myself to shoot the villagers. For a moment, I was at a loss. Aria watched the scene unfold, her eyes gleaming with triumph at my helplessness.
Her goal achieved, she turned to leave,
heading back to her shelter, to await the coming acid rain. The villagers, seeing me unmoved in the RV, they grew even more agitated. Even old Manly climbed onto my RV. He sprawled across my windshield. Just as I thought the standoff would continue, the sky suddenly darkened with ominous clouds. Then, in an instant, it turned an eerie green. Soon after, torrential rain began pouring down. The villagers looked up, observing this sudden change, but quickly realized something was wrong. This wasn't ordinary rain. It was highly corrosive acid rain. The villagers scattered in panic, and I realized the apocalyptic acid rain had arrived early. The apocalyptic acid rain had come. Its corrosion was so intense it could even melt steel. Anyone drenched by it would soon have their skin rot away, and if the decay progressed too far, they'd even turn into zombies. At first, the villagers didn't grasp its horror, but soon, more and more villagers began wailing in agony as their skin developed blisters like severe burns. Terrified, they fled wildly, except for Aunt Lu's husband, who stubbornly kept ramming his tractor into my RV, demanding I hand over 5 million, or I wouldn't leave the village. But he didn't notice. The tractor's roof was already riddled with acid-eaten holes. Without shelter, the acid rain poured directly onto him. His clothes began dissolving slowly, emitting wisps of white smoke. Soon, his clothes were in tatters, and his body bore increasingly severe sores. Uncle Wang jumped off the tractor, writhing in pain on the ground, howling miserably.
Before long, he fell silent. Trapped in the RV, I could do nothing but
sigh softly. I checked the surveillance
to assess the surroundings. The villagers had all fled. The once vibrant farmland now lay withered, the crops not just yellowed, but their leaves shredded. I knew a food crisis was imminent.
I had to hurry to my garden and start planting. As I prepared to drive away, Uncle Wang, who'd been lying motionless,
suddenly rose in a grotesque posture. His movements twisted as he stared fixedly at my RV, then leaped onto my windshield, gnawing and slamming his head against the glass.
The first zombie of the apocalyptic acid rain had appeared right before me.
My rebirth had altered the timeline,
escalating the crisis of the acid rain. Its corrosion was now even deadlier, and the mutation rate has accelerated several times faster. My little spirit also added. The longer the zombies are exposed to rain in this life, the stronger their attack power becomes. They can even undergo secondary evolution and mutation.
If I don't want major trouble, I must act fast.
I need to deal with the zombie in front of me. Hearing this from the spirit, I immediately made up my mind. I controlled the two-tiered turret, aimed at the zombie outside the window, and pressed the fire button. After a burst of fire, the zombie was taken down.
The little spirit glowed with a warm yellow light again.
It congratulated me on defeating the zombie and unlocking the seed store. It told me to quickly check out the otherworldly garden. Entering the garden, I noticed an unmanned shop had appeared.
As I approached it, a system panel popped up with 3 options: attack crops, support crops,
and enhancement crops. The spirit explained.
This upgrades my crops, giving them special effects.
but I can only choose the type. The specific crop upgrade is random.
To survive,
Combat power is what truly matters. I decisively chose attack crops.
as I selected it, a new panel appeared before me.
The spirit informed me my RV's third floor is now a special crop plantation.
I just need to operate the panel to start planting.
My chili seed has evolved into an explosive chili.
I immediately swiped on the panel as prompted.
Instantly planting chilies everywhere. My RV transformed again.
A golden flash later,
A soil area appeared on the roof, each plot emitting a faint red glow.
after handling the special crops, I divided the farm into 3 sections.
Vegetable zone, fruit zone, and corn zone. Vegetable zone, fruit zone, corn zone. In the vegetable zone, I planted lettuce, bok choy, tomatoes, and radishes, vegetables with short growth cycles.
For fruit, I chose oranges, peaches,
And apples that don't need trellises. The corn zone is mainly for feeding my chickens, ducks, cows, and fish fry. It's essential feed. After finishing all this, I pulled out my phone to check the time,
but an official alert
suddenly filled me with dread. The apocalyptic acid rain had only been falling for a week, yet social order had completely collapsed. Due to its extreme corrosiveness, the rain directly destroyed Z-City's largest. The ceiling of the water plant was corroded. Acid rain mixed directly into the tap water. Unaware people drank it and mutated into zombies immediately. Authorities urgently issued a notice. Do not go outside at this stage. Do not take showers. Only drink bottled water. The city's order fell into chaos. Hungry, rural areas like ours, mountains water, and well water, managed to escape unscathed. But I didn't want to stay in the village for long because, when I was transporting supplies earlier,
Many villagers saw me,
so I decided to drive away, finding a secluded spot where no one knows me, to lay low and grow stronger, slowly managing my otherworldly farm. After driving the RV for 3 straight days,
exhaustion filled my brain. I planned to rest for the day after checking the farm,
but unexpectedly found that the chicks I had let roam free,
and the calves had grown quite a bit. Even all the eggs had hatched.
The growth rate in the otherworldly farm is truly astonishing. The problem of obtaining meat that had troubled me before was unexpectedly resolved so easily. So, I decided to reward myself with some chicken soup. I went to the second floor of the RV, which I had converted into a kitchen and a resting area. I took a sip of the soup, and the rich flavor instantly spread across my tongue, wrapped in meaty aroma. The chicken was also more tender and fresh than I expected. Outside the RV, the acid rain poured relentlessly, but inside, I was enjoying warm chicken soup. This was a scene I couldn't even imagine in my previous life.
Just as I was about to tidy up and rest to regain my strength,
I suddenly noticed that a large number of zombies had gathered in front of the RV. The escape route I had prepared earlier was completely blocked. But in this life, with the RV, as my ultimate fortress, I had the means to survive the apocalypse.
Screw these zombies. I'm coming for you.
In my previous life, I could only flee from zombies in panic. But in this life, my combat power has skyrocketed. Facing the siege of a zombie horde, I didn't feel as helpless as before. I immediately decided to fight back. I activated the 3rd floor automated turrets and began clearing the zombies on both sides of the RV. In an instant, over a dozen zombies lost their ability to fight. Then I controlled the 2nd floor turret to eliminate all the zombies in front of the windows.
The once densely packed zombie horde
had now been cleared, opening a path. Thinking the crisis was over, I was about to hit the road when I noticed another wave of zombies in the distance. They were rushing toward my RV, and I didn't want to engage with them for too long. Otherwise, my turret might overheat. So I hit the gas, trying to break through the encirclement. But the zombies were too fast. They blocked my path, and my RV could only move forward very slowly. More and more zombies climbed onto my windows. My vision was completely blocked. Just as I was about to lose hope, the little fairy reminded me. My special crops had matured, and I needed to check them immediately. I quickly switched to the interface. The system notified me that the explosive peppers were ready. Should I harvest them all at once? I confirmed immediately and also selected the reload option. After preparations were complete, I activated the turret again.
Small peppers shot out from the turret's barrel.
The moment they touched the zombies, they exploded. The power was immense. It cleared the zombies around me in an instant. I seized the chance to break through the horde. Using a shovel bucket to clear obstacles, I carved out a path. Just as I was relieved, thinking I had finally escaped the zombie wave and could continue my journey safely,
the real threat to my life finally appeared.
I used the explosive peppers to successfully repel the zombie horde, but before I could even celebrate, a new crisis had already arrived. Suddenly, I felt the ground shaking inexplicably, and the tremors grew stronger. Through the surveillance feed, I saw a zombie as tall as my RV.
A giant zombie. I was terrified. I slammed the accelerator, trying to outrun it.
But to my despair, the distance between us was slowly shrinking. The fairy appeared and told me this was a twice mutated zombie. The giant red-eyed zombie was not only incredibly strong, but also fast. I risked overloading and forcibly activated the turret, but the bullets
bounced right off it without leaving a scratch.
I had no choice but to drive the RV toward the mountain road, hoping the winding path would help me shake off the giant zombie. I frantically asked the fairy if there was a solution. The fairy lowered its head in silence. Just then,
the giant zombie leaped and landed right behind my RV. It threw a powerful punch at the vehicle.
So I reloaded the explosive peppers and fired them at the giant zombie. After the explosion, the smoke slowly cleared, and I saw the giant zombie disappear from my rearview mirror.
I thought I had taken it down.
But suddenly, a massive rock fell from the sky behind me. It blocked my path forward, and behind me, a giant zombie was slowly closing in. Then, an even more desperate scene unfolded before my eyes. On top of the huge rock stood another giant zombie. 2 mountain-sized mutated zombies. The giant zombie charged towards me. Suddenly, the system prompt unexpectedly sounded. Congratulations, host, on repelling the zombie horde. Additional reward unlocked. Plant synthesis system.
A sprite explained it's a support system. Like a matching game, just operate the panel and fuse 3 crops of the same level together to harvest a higher level crop.
The effect is multiple times greater. I immediately synthesized all my remaining explosive peppers on the panel, upgrading them to blast peppers, and launched them via the turret. Just as the sprite said, the explosive power was much stronger, and it even had a burning effect. The giant zombie, previously impervious to attacks, was instantly incinerated. Just like that, I narrowly defeated 2 zombies. Using the remaining blast peppers, I blasted the boulder apart and sped off. I raced ahead, finally breaking free from the zombie crowd. I planned to use this break to get some proper rest. The relentless crises had left me exhausted. Smart. This time I chose a support crop. Smart corn. Smart. My corn upgraded into energy corn. The sprite told me this corn not only speeds up the growth of poultry when fed to them, but it can also be used as fuel. I no longer had any reason to leave the RV, and that wasn't the only good news. My special crop farm had also leveled up, and there was an unexpected bonus, having narrowly escaped the giant zombie crisis.
My special crop farm upgraded again.
I'd always been frustrated by the limited planting area.
This upgrade doubled the planting space.
I can now plant explosive peppers and energy corn simultaneously,
and the crop growth speed has increased.
Originally, peppers took 7 days to mature, but now they only need 5 days, and energy corn can be harvested in just 3 days. Faced with one piece of good news after another,
I decided to treat myself well.
First,
I checked the growth of the crops in the otherworldly farm.
Then, I went to the farmhouse to feed the poultry, and finally arrived at my fish pond. To my surprise, many of the fry I had released earlier had already grown up. These past few days, I've been too busy escaping from my life, surviving on just compressed biscuits. I was already sick of them. I immediately decided to cook myself a braised Persian carp. After a flurry of activity, the braised Persian carp was successfully served. Not only was the skin crispy and chewy, but the flesh was also tender and firm. I took a bite, and it was sweet with a hint of freshness, without any earthy or fishy taste, and very few bones. It seems that anything raised in the otherworldly farm has its quality significantly improved. I decided that once I have more time, I must further develop animal husbandry. After all, compared to vegetables, I prefer meat. Just as I was about to open my phone to kill some boredom,
I was shocked to find that my phone had no signal at all.
With no external information or records, I had no idea where to go. Forced by necessity, I turned on the RV's built-in radio,
hoping to get news from the station.
After a few crackles, I successfully tuned into the official channel.
But the news announced next
plunged me into panic once again. The disaster of the apocalyptic acid rain is still spreading, and all network cables have been corroded by the acid rain. The electronic network has completely collapsed, and cities are in chaos. From the official broadcast, I learned that the only means of communication now is radio. All future information will also be announced via broadcasts. At the same time, the authorities also advise people to head to rural areas or other less densely populated places to avoid the disaster. Cities with high population densities
not only have more zombies now but also
zombies of higher mutation levels. Hearing this, I couldn't help but worry.
To reach a more secluded place, I would have to cross the city, but forcing my way through might mean encountering stronger zombies.
Yet, I wasn't too keen on returning to that
hostile village. Just as I was torn,
the little sprite suggested I could first hide in the village, wait until my special crop farm grows a bit stronger, and have enough explosive peppers before attempting to cross the city. Left with no choice, I turned the vehicle around and headed towards the village. And now, at the village, a large group of villagers was gathering at the entrance of Aria's shelter. It turns out that she was going every day before the end of the day, deliver supplies in abandoned mines, although they are always careful. But it was still found by a few children in the village. They quietly followed Aria and found this doomsday shelter. Now many villagers' homes have been corroded by acid rain,
are hiding in this abandoned mine.
Every day they ask Aria to turn in the supplies, or they'll break in.
Aria sure is the secret I told before I left. She hates my guts now.
Every day figuring out how to get back at me.
A whole village conspiracy against me.
In this way, it began to brew quietly. Aria, in order to get back at me,
is a demagogue in the village.
And I don't know anything about that in the RV. Still living a leisurely pastoral life since it was determined. We have to go back to the village to get up and develop first. I looked after my farm and studied how the system was used. Because it's about 2 days before we get back to the countryside.
And all the cabbage tomatoes sown before are ripe.
So I decided to put the mature crop today. It was harvested all at once. As I harvested the crops in the fields, the system prompt pops up again to congratulate the host on completing the harvest task. Progress 1000 of 1000.
Your farm area has been upgraded with a white light.
My different space farm area is a lot bigger. I can try new crops again. This time I chose potatoes, peanuts, these grains that can be stored for a long time. I checked the farmhouse again.
My chickens have changed from a dozen to hundreds.
The cows are starting to milk normally. The remaining pigs and sheep are also in adulthood. And even more reassuring, because of the upgrading of special crop farms, I synthesized a whole 2,000 hot peppers. Energy corn pile warehouse. Food fuel weapons have been qualitatively upgraded. And the second day in the countryside, she told the villagers. She did hoard a lot of supplies. But she sees me driving away in an RV.
He gave most of it to me.
After hearing this, the villagers were angry. But since no one knows where I am,
no one ever answered her call just when everyone thought.
When everything is over, Aria is full of confidence. She rummaged through the box and found her trump card. The final battle between me and Aria officially began. Aria turned me into the village's public enemy, and she planned to team up with the villagers to kill me. Meanwhile, I was driving the RV, heading straight for the deadly countryside.
Aria pulled out a radar from the box and told the villagers.
This records the exact location of my RV. Turns out, before the apocalypse hit, Aria had secretly installed a tracking system inside my RV.
Who knew it would come in handy now?
She noticed I was getting closer to the village these past 2 days, and concluded I was returning.
She ordered the villagers to set traps on my route.
Anyone who could capture me alive would get 2 boxes of instant noodles as a reward. The gang leader, Dezhuang, got fired up. He promised Aria that if I dared to return, I wouldn't leave alive. Then, with a wooden plank on his head, he and his lackey, Gosheng, ran toward the cave. Inside the RV, as I got closer to the village, my unease grew stronger. I needed as much intel as possible about the village. Then I remembered. I had bought a surveillance drone earlier. I coated it with acid-resistant material, and slowly piloted it toward the village. Along the way, I saw that most houses were in ruins. The village pond had turned green from acid rain. Just then, I was shocked to see Gosheng and Dezhuang
wearing hard hats and thick chemical suits, hiding in a small cave.
Outside was a round boulder. Clearly, they planned to crush my RV with it.
When I passed by,
I quickly recalled the drone and strategized. That mountain path was the only way back, so I had to deal with these two. Luckily, they weren't too bright. I looked at the scattered zombies
at the foot of the mountain and started my plan.
Apocalyptic acid rain. Human nature is scarier than zombies. I was still on my way back
when the villagers ambushed me. But after Reborn, I fought back immediately. I used the drone to lure a few stray zombies
toward Dezhuang and Gosheng. They were too focused
on the boulder to notice the zombies approaching.
By the time they realized, the zombies were right in front of them. The two were immediately terrified and began to flee in panic. Dezhuang was about to be caught by the zombies when, in desperation,
he grabbed Gosheng's arm and yanked him backward.
Gosheng was pulled to the ground, and Dezhuang took the chance to run ahead. Then, the zombie behind bit into Gosheng's left shoulder. No matter how Gosheng begged, Dezhuang only glanced back once, before continuing to run away. Gosheng died tragically in the zombie's mouth, while I took advantage of their being chased by zombies to safely pass the mountain path, and at the same time, I grew even more aware of Dezhuang's ruthlessness. Meanwhile, back at the shelter, Aria learned of Gosheng's death and my successful return to the village. She cursed Dezhuang's incompetence, and began taking stock of the remaining supplies in the shelter. To her shock, she discovered that the supplies she had originally prepared, enough to last 20 years, were now more than half gone. If she continued supplying the villagers, within a month, her supplies would be completely exhausted. To solve this crisis, Aria decided to lead the villagers in a full-scale attack on me. If successful, they could overcome the supply crisis. If they failed, the acid rain outside would cause casualties among the villagers, greatly slowing the rate of supply consumption. What I would face was the villagers' furious retaliation. To resolve the shelter's supply crisis, Aria organized the villagers to raid my RV. Inside the RV, I was unaware of this. I had just finished tending to my garden and was about to cook when I noticed my RV was surrounded by villagers. Each of them wore thick rubber protective suits and hard hats. It turned out Aria had found discarded protective gear from the village's chemical plant, deep in the mine. Though some were damaged, they still effectively blocked the acid rain. The village chief shouted at me inside the RV, using the excuse that we were all from the same village to guilt-trip me,
demanding I hand over all supplies for him to distribute.
When I refused, he instantly turned hostile, warning me that if I didn't comply, once the acid rain passed, I would pay the price. But I brushed off his threat. Just then, Aunt Lou suddenly pressed against my window, crying as she told me that even though her husband had died because of me, all she wanted now was for me to spare some food to save her and her child. As she spoke, she pointed to her young child next to her. For a moment, my heart softened, but then I remembered her previous hostility toward me and felt conflicted. Just then, a sudden jolt snapped me back to reality. Old Man Joe, a villager, was driving a farming cedar, ramming it wildly into my RV. Uncle Wu and his son, driving a tractor and a front-end loader, sandwiched me from both sides. The tremendous impact
made the RV shake violently. Clearly, they also knew they couldn't
stay exposed to the acid rain for long, so they decided to attack directly. The village chief even got a homemade cannon from somewhere, frantically shooting at my door. The direct confrontation with the villagers had begun again. To get my supplies, the villagers tried both soft and hard tactics, but before I could respond, they showed their vicious side. Faced with the villagers' attack, I completely lost my patience.
So I aimed the turret at them, hoping to scare them into backing off.
But Aria seemed to see through my plan. She was sure I wouldn't dare to harm the villagers. She played the emotional card, saying I was an orphan, and that if it weren't for the villagers' help, I would have been bullied to death by outsiders. If I dared to shoot,
I'd be ungrateful. Just as I was at a loss,
Old Zhang, because his protective suit was more worn than others, had slowly started getting hit by the acid rain. His skin was instantly corroded. He rolled in agony on the ground, getting even more rain.
Soon, he stopped moving.
Many villagers began to panic, fearing they'd be next. In less than half a minute, Old Zhang, who had just been lying on the ground, had turned into a zombie. He slowly stood up, ready to attack nearby villagers. The village chief reacted first, firing 2 shots at him.
Dezhuang swung a shovel, knocking the zombie down.
Just as everyone thought the crisis was over, Aunt Lou suddenly screamed in terror. Many zombies appeared in the distance.
The loud noises must have attracted the zombies.
Near the village, the chief immediately ordered everyone to run, but everyone was wearing thick protective suits,
and the muddy rural ground made running difficult. The older villagers
were immediately pounced on by zombies. Seeing this, the villagers, who had pretended to be united earlier, didn't lift a finger to help. I survived again thanks to the zombies, and after this ordeal, I even had an unexpected gain. The villagers, due to their own greed while besieging me, attracted nearby zombies. Because of this accident, over half the villagers were dead or injured, leaving less than 10 people crowded in Aria's shelter. Zombie roars could be heard from time to time. Faced with this outcome, Aria seemed very satisfied. But before she could celebrate, Aunt Lou spoke up first. It's only a matter of time before the zombies break through the shelter door. Then no one will survive. The idea to besiege the RV came from Aria, so she should take responsibility. Let her lure the zombies away. Protect everyone. After hearing this, everyone thought it made sense. Aria was plunged into despair. She begged the village chief desperately. At the same time, she kept trying to win Dezhuang's favor, promising, if he was willing to replace her and luring the zombies away, she would serve Dezhuang for the rest of her life. But faced with this death sentence, Dezhuang just lowered his head in silence. Seeing Aria refusing to go out, a few villagers forcefully dragged her. They pulled her to the door, ready to push her out at the right moment. Meanwhile, inside the RV, since I had avoided the villagers' siege, I received another reward. This time, I chose enhanced crops. Soybeans. The Smart Store interface displayed giant pumpkin seeds. The little sprite explained that these giant pumpkins were specifically designed to counter large zombies. The only downside was their massive size, so only one could be planted in a special crop farm at a time. But the good news was their astonishing growth speed. They could be harvested in just 1 hour. I would soon face the biggest crisis since the apocalypse began.
Because my and Aria's rebirth
disrupted the original order of Blue Star. Not only did I gain the pastoral system, but Aria also awakened a system by sheer coincidence. In the shelter, as the village chief threw out the dirt bomb, the massive explosion attracted nearby zombies. The villagers inside seized the moment to open the door and pushed Aria out. She screamed helplessly and started running wildly, but in her panic, she quickly fell. A zombie swung its arm, reaching for Aria's neck. She closed her eyes in despair, cursing me and the villagers non-stop. She swore that if she survived, she would make us pay. Just then, a strange green smoke surrounded Aria. A small black demon appeared beside her. It told her, because it sensed her extraordinary hatred, she had awakened the zombie commander system. Not only could she control zombies, but she could also help them evolve. The demon's only demand for Aria was to rise above everyone else until she conquered the world. When Aria opened her eyes again, she saw the zombies
kneeling before her.
Meanwhile, the system panel prompts her whether to sacrifice 50 surrounding zombies to summon the Lord-level zombie, Bloody Butcher. As she confirms,
a zombie wielding a giant axe appears in the mine.
The little demon tells her that, given Aria's current abilities, she can only control this one bloody butcher, or 50 ordinary zombies. Aria orders the bloody butcher to break open the shelter. With one swing of its axe, the bloody butcher slices off the shelter's roof. The people inside stare in terror and despair at the monster before them. Expressionless, Aria commands the bloody butcher to grab at Lou and crush her to death. The remaining people in the shelter kneel and kowtow, begging for Aria's forgiveness.
Seeing their submission,
Aria directs the bloody butcher and the villagers
to surround my RV again. Staring at the monster,
I break out in a cold sweat. The little fairy explains that the bloody butcher has much higher attack and defense
than the giant red-eyed zombie. It must be dealt with quickly.
I immediately load a jalapeno, but after the explosion, the bloody butcher remains unharmed. It casually brushes off the flames and raises its giant axe, slashing toward my special crop farm. The violent impact
shakes my RV. The system alerts me
that the special crop farm's durability is only at 80%. If it's destroyed, I'll never be able to grow special crops again. I consider driving away, but the villagers have blocked both ends of the road with tractors. Just as I despair,
the system chimes again. Giant pumpkin has matured.
Harvest with one click? Aria unexpectedly awakens the system, commanding the bloody butcher to attack my RV. Just as I'm at a loss, my new crop, the giant pumpkin, matures. I instantly choose to harvest it. Suddenly, my system interface displays a live feed from outside the RV. I tap the bloody butcher's location, and the system prompts again. Confirm the giant pumpkin's drop point. Upon confirmation,
a massive pumpkin appears in the sky and slams down onto the bloody butcher, pinning it firmly to the ground.
The villagers, witnessing this,
scatter in panic. Even Aria is stunned.
The little demon explains to her that I've also awakened a system, and will become her greatest obstacle in the future. If Aria wants to conquer the world, she must eliminate me first.
The bloody butcher struggles fiercely to stand up, but fails. After half a minute, it stops moving. Both the giant pumpkin and the bloody butcher vanish together.
Just as I was relieved to have escaped another disaster, I realized Aria had already started running away.
I aimed the turret at her, but after much hesitation,
I still couldn't press the button, even though she's harmed me repeatedly. I didn't want to wipe her out completely. After some thought, I decided to plant a spy within her ranks first, to keep tabs on her movements. If anything unexpected happens, I can respond immediately. At the same time, I planted giant pumpkins again, but the fairy also warned me that, given my current special crops and farm level, I could store at most 3 giant pumpkins. Hearing this, I felt a growing unease. It seems
my farm's growth speed must outpace Aria's from now on,
or I'll face danger again. Just then, the sound I'd been waiting for rang out once more. My rewards were finally distributed, and this time, it was completely different from before. I hadn't even been back in the village for a day, yet my RV system had made a qualitative leap. Because I continuously resolved troubles, the RV system granted me multiplied rewards,
even a comprehensive upgrade.
First, my otherworldly farm's crops and livestock
grew even faster, and the area expanded significantly. In the seed store, I chose attack-type crops this time,
unlocking ice twin eggplants. My special crop farm not only expanded but also gained self-repair functionality. As long as it doesn't suffer catastrophic damage, it can heal itself. After receiving the rewards, I was about to start a new day's work when the fairy
brought me more good news.
Due to Aria's unexpected awakening, it decided to make an exception, and unlock the partner system for me again. Then it asked me to choose a farm partner.
The interface displayed scout type,
attack type, and pastoral type options. What I lacked most
was a way to gather information, so I chose the scout type. Soon, my pastoral type gained a peculiar-looking golden bird, with a bizarre name, Bunyo and I. The fairy explained its functions to me. If I silently think of a destination in my mind, it will fly there. Its vision is shared with the RV system, and it can even turn invisible. Also, since it's not from Blue Star and is inherently alive, it's immune to acid rain. I instantly took a liking to it, commanding it to fly to the abandoned mine to gather intel on Aria. As Bunyo and I brought back footage, I sensed the situation was spiraling far beyond my expectations. Aria's threat to me was far from over.
Through Bunyoni, I discovered Aria's behavior. It's more brutal than I imagined. She controls the zombies, continuously plundering nearby villages. If they don't submit to her, she orders the zombies to attack. In just 5 days, 3 surrounding villages have all surrendered to her. She demands every household to hand over all supplies for her to distribute and manage. She even formed her own personal guard to protect her safety. Dezhuang, who was once most loyal to Aria, was completely ignored by her after failing to ambush me. Now, he can only eat some leftover rotten vegetables to survive. I realized this is a great opportunity. I decided to bribe Dezhuang to be my informant. I deliberately let Bunyoni appear in front of him. Starving Dezhuang's eyes lit up at the sight of food.
I lured him to a secluded spot
and conveyed a message through Bunyoni. Dezhuang was startled at first, but quickly calmed down. After all, in this apocalypse, anything is possible. I made a deal with Dezhuang. As long as he reports Aria's movements to me daily, I'll provide him with a bucket of instant noodles. If he provides high-value intel, I'll give him roasted chicken and other scarce foods in the apocalypse. To show sincerity, I agreed to meet him tomorrow at this spot. I'll prepare milk and biscuits for him. Dezhuang agreed without hesitation. Inside the RV, I felt great after solving the informant issue, and decided to treat myself. I noticed the fruits I had earlier were now ripe, so I made a fruit salad. Crispy sweet apple chunks, mixed with soft, juicy peach cubes, and tomatoes that burst with juice at first bite. The sweet and sour flavors blended perfectly, a luxury in the apocalypse, unimaginable to others. To my surprise,
Dezhuang brought me crucial intel the next day.
I controlled Buwuni to the meeting spot. Dezhuang had clearly been waiting for a while. He was ecstatic to see the biscuits under Bunyoni's feet. He pounced, tore open the bag, and devoured them. After eating, he began to tell me in detail about Aria's abilities. For every person who submits to her, she can control 5 more zombies.
Currently, she controls over 100 zombies,
including 2 bloody butchers. But Aria is worried. Others might awaken systems too, so she plans to build her empire, step by step from the countryside before attacking the cities.
Then I asked why he and Go Sheng
ambushed me earlier. Suddenly, Dezhuang's eyes flickered with evasion before he slowly spoke. He said Aria had secretly installed a tracker in my RV earlier. That's how she got my location. Hearing this, I couldn't help but feel chills. Aria's revenge had already been set in motion. I had to eliminate this threat as soon as possible. At the same time, I noticed Dezhuang's unusual behavior. but for now, I had to use him. So I told him tonight I'd bring roast chicken and asked him to be on time. Dajwang nodded frantically. After gathering intel, I went to the otherworldly farm and caught 2 chickens. After some work, 2 delicious roast chickens were ready. As I ate, I pondered my next move. I roughly estimated the local population. If Aria really conquered them all, her zombie army could easily surpass 1,000. Letting her grow unchecked was too dangerous for me. But I couldn't come up with a solid plan right away. Plus, Aria was more cautious now. Ever since she found out I also awakened the system, Aria would never show herself easily. Usually, her elite guards and zombies conquered villages for her. As I thought, the system suddenly notified me my frost eggplant was ready. A brand new special crop had matured. But this time, I wasn't as excited as I'd imagined, because its effect left me utterly confused. The frost eggplant could freeze all flames, but in this post-apocalyptic acid rain world, any fire would be snuffed out instantly. If I had to name a use,
It might be its cooling effect. Just place food near it, and it won't rot.
basically a fridge. Facing this reward, I felt a bit disappointed, so I controlled Claybird to monitor Aria's every move. As usual, she sent her elite guards to attack villages. The rest were building houses inside an abandoned mine. Aria distributed supplies and shelter, based on contribution. Pawns like Dajwang only got rotten cabbage leaves daily,
and lived in a hand-dug pit in the mine.
Aria's empire was already taking shape. I realized I had to gather intel fast, and prepare countermeasures early. With that thought, I ordered Claybird to deliver roast chicken to Dajwang. Seeing the chicken, Dajwang teared up instantly. He knelt devoutly, holding the chicken with both hands, and started eating. In under 10 minutes,
The chicken was completely devoured.
even the bones were chewed to bits. Dajwang wiped grease from his lips while reporting Aria's movements to me, he told me. Most of the nearby villages have already been under Aria's control. She can now simultaneously control 4 blood butchers, and plans to organize a full-scale attack on me in a few days. At the same time, she issued the highest bounty on me. Dead or alive, whoever takes me down will receive 10 years' worth of supplies, and become the second in command of her empire. Hearing this, I realized I must speed up the construction of the special farm. My next direct confrontation with Aria
Is about to begin. I thought I had grasped Aria's intel, but it turned out to be
a trap set by Aria in advance. While I was still preparing for the showdown in a few days, Aria actually took advantage of the night to ambush me. The supposedly bribed Dajwang was actually colluding with Aria, putting on an act together. The intel he gave me was half-truths. He deliberately gave the wrong time to make me lower my guard. Luckily, I deployed the Mudbird for real-time surveillance.
I knew about their actions the moment they moved.
But what surprised me was that this ambush only involved Dajwang and a horde of zombies. Aria didn't show up, and the number of zombies was significantly higher than Dajwang described.
There were 8 blood butchers alone.
And no less than 100 ordinary zombies. They surrounded my RV completely. The blood butchers took the initiative to attack, swinging an axe at my RV. Without hesitation, I summoned giant pumpkins to suppress the blood butchers. Thanks to the last upgrade of the special crop farm,
My stock of giant pumpkins reached 10.
meanwhile,
My turrets kept loading jalapenos.
the dark night was instantly lit up by flames. After more than 10 minutes of fighting, my ammo was almost exhausted, and Aria's zombie army was nearly wiped out. But what puzzled me was,
Even though I was the victor, Dajwang seemed completely calm, even somewhat excited.
as if he had anticipated all of this.
Just as I wondered what they would do next.
The little spirit suddenly warned me anxiously. Something even more terrifying was approaching from afar, moving slowly toward us. I never expected.
Hundreds of zombies and 8 blood butchers were just a diversion.
The real main force was just making its entrance. I used special crops to successfully counter Aria's zombie army's assault.
But who would have thought these were all?
Cannon fodder set up by Aria in advance. In the distance,
2 zombies covered in flames slowly approached.
the acid rain evaporated instantly upon touching them.
One of the zombies gathered fire in its mouth.
It shot a fireball directly at my RV. Instantly, my RV was engulfed in roaring flames.
This fire seemed even stronger than the acid rain. The rain didn't weaken it, the fire only grew fiercer. I guess this was Aria's newly summoned zombie. I decided to pull back and observe first.
I drove the RV out of the sea of fire.
But my RV's speed couldn't keep up.
With the speed of their fire blasts, the 2 zombies together spewed flames at my RV. Everything the fire touched turned to ash instantly. At the same time, the little spirit warned me it felt the RV's temperature skyrocketing. If I let those
2 flame zombies keep blasting, my RV
would become a giant steamer, and I'd be roasted alive. Thinking this, I gave up running and prepared to fight back. I summoned a giant pumpkin.
It slammed down hard on the flame zombie, but this time,
It wasn't as smooth as I'd imagined. The flame zombie burst into roaring flames, constantly scorching the giant pumpkin on it.
suddenly, both giant pumpkins vanished.
The flame zombie stood up again. In a panic, I launched a jalapeno, but the flame zombie didn't even dodge. Instead, it caught it barehanded and swallowed it.
All my attacks had failed.
Just as I was despairing, I suddenly remembered. I still had one last trick up my sleeve.
I summoned my final crop.
Ready for a last stand with the flame zombie. I thought this special crop
Was useless, but at the critical moment,
it actually saved my life. Facing the powerfully armed flame zombies, none of my previous attacks worked. Left with no choice,
I summoned a winter melon and placed it
in front of the 2 flame zombies. Faced with the sudden plant, the 2 flame zombies didn't take it seriously.
They shot fire at the winter melon,
But the winter melon was completely unharmed.
one flame zombie lifted its foot to crush it.
But the moment it stepped down, the winter melon exploded.
A dense white mist appeared nearby.
Even the acid rain froze solid, and the flame zombie was frozen into an ice sculpture. The other zombie, seeing the situation, shot fire at its companion, trying to melt the ice. I increased the winter melon deployment, and in an instant, its surroundings were covered in winter melons.
The flame zombie got scared and started spraying fire wildly.
Several times, it almost hit Dajwang. Dajwang also realized something was wrong, so he turned and started running. With the explosion of the frost eggplant,
Both flame zombies were frozen together.
and I launched the explosive chili again. This time, the 2 flame zombies turned into ice shards along with the ice block. they vanished into thin air. I defeated Aria once again, but I also realized how terrifying Aria is. She's not just cautious, but also meticulous in her plans. If Dojwang hadn't slipped up, making me suspicious and prompting me to arrange for you need to monitor, I might not have survived tonight. On the other side, Aria learned about the mission's failure
Through the zombies in advance, but she didn't seem
as furious as expected. She gave a sinister smile,
then waved her hand and ordered her elite guard to execute Plan B.
An even greater conspiracy began.
Although the frost eggplant helped me escape this time, this incident made me aware of my own shortcomings. If I had discovered the frost eggplant's use earlier,
I wouldn't have been in such danger. From now on, I must study special crops more. The sprite told me that this time's reward is quite special. The system is already distributed by default. This time's reward is the steel wall potato.
Its effect is to block tons of damage,
delaying enemy attacks. As long as I plant steel wall potatoes all around the RV, it'll be like having a sturdy city wall, making it hard for enemies to break in. Hearing this, I sighed in relief. The steel wall potato
is exactly what I've been dreaming of for a safe development.
With its protection, it seems I can avoid direct confrontations with Aria in the future. I'll also have more time to prepare. At the same time, to compensate for me not having the right to choose the type of special crop this time, the system also rewarded me with an expanded special crop farm area. Now I can plant multiple types of special crops at once. These consecutive good news lifted my spirits. From the otherworldly farm, I selected a piglet and made roast suckling pig. The skin was crispy and flaky, the meat tender and juicy. This was the first time since the long apocalypse I've had such a feast. After eating, I started tending to my otherworldly garden again. I replaced all the previously planted crops, and in the fruit area, I set up grape trellises and strawberry greenhouses, preparing to grow more fruits. By the time I finished everything and returned to the RV, it was already late at night. Through bird mud, I discovered that Aria was actually giving orders. Continue excavating the abandoned mine, digging deeper.
I was very puzzled by her actions.
But then a broadcast finally made me realize the shocking secret behind Aria. Due to the relentless acid rain, the city was completely overrun by zombies. More and more people chose to seek refuge in sparsely populated rural areas. The nearest city to our village, H City, has thousands of survivors. Heading our way, Aria's mining was precisely to accommodate more people. If she succeeds in conquering these people, she might amass a zombie army of 5 figures.
I must act before her to stop her plan. I drove the RV to the only entrance of our village,
prepared to hold it. No zombies or her elite guards can pass. Just as I expected, Aria had already stationed a group of zombies at the entrance. I used the turret to continuously fire hot peppers, clearing the surrounding zombies. But Aria's zombie army seemed far larger than I imagined. No matter how many I eliminated, endless zombies kept coming from afar. My battle with Aria turned into a war of attrition. After half a day of fighting, I ran out of ammo completely, while Aria's zombie army still had strength left. But I won't give up. If Aria already has such terrifying power now, if she truly conquers these thousands of survivors,
my defeat would just be a matter of time. I must find a way to delay her.
I launched a barrage of iceberg lettuces on the zombies' path. The zombie horde was instantly frozen into ice sculptures, but without hot peppers,
I couldn't shatter them. All I could do was
immobilize them. And what made me even more desperate was the apocalyptic acid rain could erode the ice. In less than 15 minutes, the zombies thawed out one after another. A massive wave of zombies was about to break through the entrance.
Just then, my steel walls matured.
A brilliant idea struck me. I found a solution.
As the steel walls dropped, the battle shifted once again. In this entrance defense battle, I emerged victorious. I used the steel walls to completely block the entrance. Aria's plan to build her zombie empire was foiled again. The zombies were helpless against the steel walls. No matter how they attacked, the steel walls stood firm. Even the formidable Blood Butcher couldn't break through the steel wall's defense.
I completely severed our village's connection to the outside world.
Just as I relaxed, I suddenly noticed the zombies.
They actually gave up the attack, and started gnawing on the steel wall potatoes instead, the fairy explained. While steel wall potatoes can withstand attacks,
they are still crops and can be completely gnawed away.
However, for the zombies to finish eating all the steel wall potatoes,
it would take a very long time.
I could use this opportunity to develop safely. The battle at the intersection with Aria turned into
a tug of war against time.
Now it all depends on whether I can develop large-scale lethal crops first,
or if Aria can rebuild her zombie army faster. Thinking of this, I urged the fairy
to distribute the rewards, but disappointingly, there was no reward prompt this time. It seems even the system believes
I didn't win this battle, or it's not over yet.
But then the fairy said, the system has changed. First, my special crop farm can now be manually tended, just operated in the system interface, and you can water and fertilize the special crops, speeding up their growth. My otherworldly garden now has a one-click harvest feature, saving me time
from picking manually to replenish ammo quickly.
I spent every day, aside from necessary rest and meals,
continuously managing my farm.
During this time, I also
developed new crops on my own. My system development
finally made substantial progress. Through constant trial,
I successfully created powerful new crops. The previous synthesis system had been forgotten,
except for creating fire peppers.
I hadn't tried other special crops. I upgraded the giant pumpkin to a colossal pumpkin, doubling its power. Frost eggplant became Arctic eggplant,
with a larger freezing range, and even the ability to briefly alter the weather, turning acid rain into ordinary snowflakes. The only drawback was its 1-minute duration. Energy corn was upgraded to super corn, greatly enhancing the growth speed of poultry and fish. But all this still didn't achieve a qualitative leap in combat power. Just as I sighed, the fairy suddenly appeared, startling me. My hand accidentally slipped onto the super corn, placing it with the colossal pumpkin. Then something amazing happened. The two crops actually fused successfully, accidentally synthesized the pumpkin corn annihilator tank. The sprite was clearly shocked too. It hadn't expected me to unknowingly acquire the hybridization skill. It urged me to quickly test its power. I loaded the pumpkin corn annihilator tank with super corn, and ordered it to fire. A massive corn cob struck the target,
exploding with nuclear force.
The previous zombie horde was wiped out in a single blast. I used the pumpkin corn annihilator tank to instantly clear the remaining zombies at the crossroads. I considered pursuing the victory to destroy Aria's mine, but remembering many innocent villagers were inside, I decided to wait and watch. I'd deal with her completely when the time was right. Aria, hearing the news, didn't just wait for defeat. She also successfully synthesized a new zombie, and it was the type I'm worst at dealing with. I thought clearing the crossroads zombies
meant victory, but I hadn't expected
Aria's abilities to far exceed my predictions. One day, while tending my crops in the garden,
Bunyanni suddenly reported large numbers of
unknown creatures in the sky. I immediately looked. They were winged zombies. The sprite saw them, and recognized them as demon zombies. Their attack is average,
but they're smarter and more agile than other zombies. Great for scouting and solo combat. It marveled at how fast Aria was improving.
It also warned me to be wary of these zombies, although I wasn't sure of Aria's goal yet.
My gut told me I had to act fast.
Otherwise, bigger trouble was coming. Thinking this, I immediately sent all my plants to attack. At first, my turrets could hit these demon zombies, but after I shot down a few,
the rest noticed and flew higher.
They were out of range. I tried, using frost eggplants to freeze them, but the distance was too great. I could only try new synthesis paths again, but after several attempts, no new plants appeared. I could only watch helplessly as the demon zombies flew away. Then, I suddenly remembered. I hadn't claimed the reward from the last crossroads battle. I quickly opened the interface. Sure enough, my seed shop had refreshed. I prayed silently, hoping to get a weapon to counter them. I pressed the select button. This time, the special plant was the gold bean shooter. I immediately chose to plant it. Dispatch Bonio to continuously track these demon zombies. I finally figured out Aria's plan. Aria's been using demon zombies to constantly gather supplies from outside. She's trying to build her own zombie empire. Today, I'm going to crush her plans. While the gold bean shooter was growing, I watched demon zombies fly past every day, anxious and nervous. I feared Aria's forces were expanding too fast. My planting speed couldn't keep up with her zombies' evolution. But today, the special crop finally matured with a notification sound. I immediately placed the gold bean shooter on the steel-armed potato. As golden light flashed, rows of neat crops appeared. On the steel-armed potato, automatically locking onto the demon zombies flying high in the sky.
They fired fast golden bullets,
giving the zombies no time to react, instantly killing swarms of them. Supplies and demon zombies
rained down from the sky.
I sent Bonio to search for guns, ammo, and combat supplies. I can tolerate Aria getting survival supplies, but I can't let her have anything that boosts her empire's combat power. After a day and night of fighting, the sky was almost clear of demon zombies. Unlike previous one time, special crops, these gold bean shooters didn't disappear. I tried combining extra gold bean shooters. It evolved into a gold bean gatling.
It fires 3 bullets at once with more power,
and even has piercing effects. Aria learned died, awakened a new plant, and wiped out her demon zombie army. She flew into a rage.
She took her anger out on the villagers, cutting off their dinner
and denying them rest.
The villagers' resentment peaked,
but no one dared oppose Aria with her zombies.
In my RV, I got another prompt from the sprite.
Hidden task available. Execute. Post. Apocalyptic acid rain, my first hidden task. My pastoral system is finally getting its final upgrade. Following the sprite's hint, I opened the hidden task interface. It required eliminating 1,000 zombies.
After several battles with Aria, the progress was already at 80.
In the following days, I used special crops to eliminate zombies, while managing my garden. After all my care in the apocalypse, my ultimate space garden, it has become a massive planting base, cultivating almost all common vegetables and fruits. Due to abundant sunlight and fertile soil in the alternate dimension, I don't even need to fertilize, water, or deal with pests. Plus, with the one-click harvest feature, I'm living the true win without lifting a finger of life. But on the other side, Aria isn't so lucky. With my steel wall potatoes blocking the way, her demon zombies were wiped out. I completely cut off her connection to the outside world, depriving her of any means to gather supplies. She could only send villagers under her command daily to scavenge scattered supplies. And due to the scarcity of resources, the digging speed in the abandoned mine slowed down more and more. Many villagers couldn't get enough to eat, starting to the point of barely being able to move.
Zhuang often bullied these villagers,
nearly sparking riots several times. Aria's empire is now facing internal and external crises. Today, as usual, I drove the RV to clear out scattered zombies around the village. As the last zombie fell with a thud, my mission progress finally reached 100%.
I couldn't wait to open the seed shop
to see if any new seeds had refreshed.
But what caught my eye
was a brand new system and interface. Not only were the features more refined than before, but there were also more options available. My apocalypse survival plan is getting more solid. Because I completed a hidden quest, I successfully unlocked the system shop's gold coin system. Not only can I freely choose and buy various crop seeds, but what thrilled me most was that it could even open up new spaces. The little sprite informed me that my seed shop has officially evolved into a super shop. No more random crop selections. Now I can pick from a special crop list,
based on my needs.
Like edamame shooters, spiked cacti, carrot cannons, and more. Each seed costs just 1 gold coin. From now on, I can actively choose my special crop combinations based on the battlefield. And seeds bought with gold coins can even grow faster by spending more coins. As long as I have enough coins, I'll never worry about running out of ammo again. I kept browsing through the special crop types and functions in the shop until I reached the bottom.
There, I found a locked plant,
displayed as a question mark, and the price is as high as 100 gold coins per seed. I asked the little elf what kind of crop this was. The little elf didn't know either, but I had a vague feeling this would be the crucial plant to turn the tide. After studying the plant, I began researching its other function, space activation. It could generate specific functional zones within my farmland. Suddenly, I saw it. The hot spring area was priced at 1,000 gold coins. Since the apocalypse began, I could only manage simple daily hygiene. I hadn't had a proper hot bath, and this tempted me beyond words. Looking at the 10,000 gold coins the system had rewarded me, I made a decision. I bought the hot spring area, right next to my farmland. An open-air hot spring actually appeared. I sat in the hot spring, the water just covering my chest. I felt my tense nerves gradually relaxing. The fatigue slowly melted away, and I couldn't help but marvel at the power of the shop's gold coin system. At the same time, I set a small goal for myself. In this apocalypse, I would live like an emperor in my pastoral life. Outside the RV was acid rain. That would rot your skin on contact. But inside the RV, I was soaking in a hot spring, while eating chilled watermelon. I asked the little elf how to earn more gold coins. I wanted a complete upgrade for my farmland system. The little elf told me that for every zombie killed, I'd earn 10 gold coins. The amount varied depending on the zombie type. For example, a bloody butcher was worth 500 gold coins, and a flame zombie went as high as 2,000. Hearing this, I suddenly felt invigorated. Who would have thought that the zombies I used to avoid at all costs were now my walking treasure chests?
After all, with my special crops and RV,
The zombies couldn't touch me. After the bath, I whipped up a few simple dishes for myself. Stir-fried potatoes, peppers, eggplant, spicy braised eggplant, and scrambled eggs, tomatoes. As the steaming dishes were laid out on the table,
I never imagined life in the apocalypse could be this good.
while eating, I started planning my next steps. My current supplies were all ready, enough to last me over 100 years, so my top priority should be to earn as many gold coins as possible. That meant I needed to kill a lot of zombies. Lately, Aria had been focused on securing supplies, and hadn't sent any zombies to harass me, so my gold coin count was rising slowly. If I wanted to kill zombies on a large scale, I might need to venture beyond the rural areas. I started feeling conflicted. Just then, Unyao and I suddenly interrupted my thoughts. It anxiously reported Aria's situation to me. Turns out, due to my negligence these past few days, I wasn't monitoring Aria in real time, and her empire has actually revived. It's even larger now. More terrifyingly, there are no zombies in sight, either in the sky or on the ground. My apocalypse crisis is about to strike again.
Aria is more cunning than I expected.
She's using brand new zombies
To rebuild her empire once again. I knew nothing about this. When I controlled Claybird too. Aria's abandoned mine, I was shocked to find she had massive supplies and had even built
a palace just for herself, majestic outside, luxuriously decorated inside.
You'd never guess we're in an apocalypse. I can't figure out where her supplies come from, so I camped daily at her mine entrance,
looking for weaknesses. But after days of surveillance, I got nothing.
I could only watch Aria's power grow. Then I noticed Big Strong and the village chief
Seemed to disappear every day for a while.
This strange behavior made me suspicious.
I decided to follow them. Finally one day, I spotted Sneaky Big Strong, looking nervous, and constantly checking his surroundings.
I made Claybird invisible and followed him. Big Strong left the mine and went to a farmhouse
I'd never seen before, closing the door behind him.
Soon he came out carrying a huge bag of supplies. Claybird peeked inside. The house was empty. Just a bottomless pit in the floor. Later, a zombie wearing a miner's helmet emerged carrying a large bag.
Claybird flew into the hole.
There was an underground tunnel. It actually connects to the city. So this is how Aria gets her supplies.
So well hidden, ordinary people would never find it. Now I found the root of the problem.
I immediately opened my superstore to pick seeds. This time I'll crush Aria completely, leaving no chance for comeback. My attack begins. Using Claybird, I located Aria's hidden tunnel. To destroy it, I bought potato mines from the superstore. They explode when stepped on, but the blast isn't too powerful. No worry about collapsing the ground. To save time, I used quick catalysis.
Under cover of night, I planted 100 potato mines
throughout the tunnel. Once the tunnel zombies move tomorrow,
I'll wipe them out in one strike. At dawn, second sister led her zombie army
through the tunnels into the farmhouse to gather supplies. But as zombies jumped into the black hole one by one, explosions echoed through the passage.
Inside the RV, I watched my gold coins rapidly increasing, amazed at how valuable tunnel zombies were, each one worth 50 gold coins.
I couldn't wait to see how much more gold I'd earn today. Big Strong arrived as usual to collect supplies, but was shocked to find the tunnel completely destroyed. Panicking, he ran while shouting emergency.
His comical reaction made me laugh out loud. In the abandoned mine, second sister glared at kneeling Big Strong,
her gaze and posture forming an X shape.
When she learned I destroyed her tunnel again, she gritted her teeth in rage. She ordered everyone to stop work immediately,
inventory remaining supplies while planning her next move. I thought that was the end of it.
Just as I celebrated destroying second sister's tunnel,
my action had completely enraged her. She launched a brutal revenge campaign.
That shocked me with its cruelty. I destroyed second sister's underground passage,
triggering her inhuman retaliation.
She abandoned humanity, trapping me in an impossible situation. Before dawn, Birdmud warned me
that hordes of zombies were heading toward my RV. I quickly lined up pea shooters in front, hiding frost eggplants and potato mines in the shadows.
Surprisingly, these were just ordinary zombies. That fell easily to my pea shooters.
They were no match for my golden peas, with half defeated in moments. Watching my gold coins skyrocket,
I thanked second sister for this generous gift.
I thought she'd made a reckless move in anger,
but this was merely second sister's
diversion to deceive me.
The real threat was Big Strong leading
elite zombies, flame zombies, blood butchers,
and giant red ice. Second sister seemed to commit
her entire force. I couldn't delay,
immediately summoning Giant Pumpkin
to suppress their attack.
But the fairy suddenly stopped me, urging me to observe the zombie horde closely.
That's when I noticed each zombie
held a villager hostage. Attacking recklessly would surely harm these innocent people. So I decided to use frost eggplants to slow down the zombie horde. But the little spirit warned me that the extreme cold from the frost eggplants would also harm the villagers. Just as I was torn, the zombie horde was less than 100 meters away from me. In desperation, I summoned steel wall potatoes to encircle my RV. But because of Aria's overwhelming number of zombies, the steel wall potatoes were visibly deteriorating at a rapid pace. Inside the RV, I frantically started thinking of a plan. Suddenly, the appearance of a special crop completely turned the tide again. Aria used the villagers as human shields
and launched a massive assault on my RV.
As the zombie horde was about to breach the steel wall potatoes' defense,
at the critical moment, I accidentally discovered
a control-type special crop in the superstore. After the little spirit's explanation, I chose the hypnoshroom. It could release a special scent that made the zombies temporarily obey me. I spent half my gold coins to buy the hypnoshroom and accelerated its growth. I scattered a large number of hypnoshrooms around the RV. The previously agitated zombie horde suddenly fell silent. Zhuang, who was commanding from the rear, sensing something was wrong, immediately came to check but only found the zombies standing motionless like they had lost consciousness. I ordered all the zombies to release the villagers they were holding. The villagers broke free and immediately started fleeing in panic. Once the villagers had scattered, I commanded the zombies to fight each other. Instantly, the zombie army descended into chaos. The bloody butcher wildly slashed at the giant red-eyed zombie, while the flame zombie kept spewing fire into the zombie horde. Zhuang was utterly stunned
by the scene before him and didn't know what to do.
Just then, two giant zombies locked in combat
Approached him.
as one of them threw a powerful punch, the other collapsed straight down.
Landing right where Dezhuang was standing.
Dezhuang, who had bullied me in my past life, met his end in this dramatic fashion, killed by Aria's zombie horde. Suddenly, all the zombies stopped attacking. It seemed some of the zombies had developed resistance to the hypnoshroom, but the zombies that stopped didn't continue attacking my RV. Instead, they ran in the opposite direction. It seemed Aria knew she was outmatched and wanted to save as many zombies as possible. I instantly switched from defense to offense.
Starting a zombie hunt with Aria. Her attacks on me
Were successfully countered by my hypnoshrooms. She ordered the zombies to retreat collectively, but I didn't want to give her any chance. To earn more gold coins, I drove the RV and began hunting the remaining zombies. First, I started to fire lettuce in front of zombies. It froze the whole ground solid.
The zombies in the front all slipped and fell, unable to get back up.
Then, I quickly set up walnuts right in front of them, completely cutting off their retreat. I had the horde cornered. I used jalapenos and Colonel Pulse to wipe out all the regular zombies. Finally, with a giant pumpkin, I took down the last gargantuar. After this battle, my coin count hit 100,000, but Aria only had fewer than 10 regular zombies left.
Our forces were now worlds apart.
Just then,
The system alerted me.
I'd unlocked the final special plant. I opened the shop. The lock on the interface began to loosen. The ultimate plant, the Sunflower of Hope, appeared, but its price was insane. A single seed cost 100,000 coins, and its effects were all listed as question marks.
I asked the sprite, but it had no clue either.
After struggling with a decision, I chose to spend my coins on upgrading my living quarters first.
I expanded my pocket dimension and bought
A kitchen and a bathroom. My quality of life skyrocketed.
The system also notified me
That since my total coin spending exceeded 50,000,
my pocket farm entered full automation.
everything from planting and tending to harvesting could now be done with a few clicks on the system interface.
Farm work that used to take a whole day
Was finished in 10 seconds. Even better,
My special plant farm got a major upgrade.
Aria's revenge plot was completely crushed. She lost her lackey, Dezhuang, and her zombie army. Meanwhile, my farm leveled up again, and I was rolling in coins. My special plant farm was fully upgraded, with no more space or land limits. As long as I had enough special seeds,
I could plant and store infinitely. I'd never face
a firepower shortage again. As for Aria,
her reckless attack left her severely weakened. Many villagers had fled, and without the zombie threat, others started slacking off.
Aria cursed me non-stop, her eyes burning with hatred and rage. Right then, the little demon appeared, bringing Aria good news.
Because I unlocked the ultimate plant, it caused
a chain reaction to continue. Aria also unlocked two ultimate zombies, the Hell General and the Zombie Commander. But with the number of villagers Aria has conquered now, she can only summon one of each. Aria immediately activated her ability. A green magic circle appeared on the ground. A headless general riding a nightmare steed emerged.
On the other side appeared a cloaked figure.
A staff-wielding zombie, the little demon.
He explained their roles. The Hell General is the fastest and strongest attacker among all zombies. Its death charge can slice through
my fortress-like RV in a single strike.
The Zombie Commander possesses high intelligence. Like Aria, it can control lower-level zombies and summon them infinitely. With them, Aria's dream of world domination will progress much faster. Aria looked at the two ultimate zombies and flashed a murderous smile.
She swore she would personally kill me this time.
She gave the zombies their orders. A greater conspiracy was born.
A month had passed since the big battle with Aria. I was enjoying a carefree rural life. I thought
this peaceful life would continue indefinitely.
But a radio broadcast put me back on high alert. Authorities announced that the acid rain is intensifying.
It's falling faster and is even more corrosive.
Ordinary stainless steel will completely corrode into scrap after just one day of exposure. If this continues, humanity's extinction might be less than 3 months away. Hearing this, I panicked, but little sprite reassured me. Its special coating
can easily handle even the strongest acid rain. My top priority was still to lay low and develop, but since Aria's large-scale attack, zombies had become rare in the village. My gold earnings had dropped to triple digits for days. I realized that to earn more gold,
I needed to go to a big city, but I didn't want to leave our village easily. So, I started browsing
the superstore for crops, wondering
if there was something like an anywhere door plant. Suddenly, a crop called Transport Dandelion caught my eye. It can carry other crops to any location I specify.
It's like giving my special plants wings.
I planted the Transport Dandelion. 3 days later, it matured.
I attached a pea shooter underneath it
to test it out. The result was just as I expected. The dandelion transport drifted around with a gold bean shooter. In just one day, I gathered 5,000 gold coins. So I decided to start mass-producing dandelion transports. I dreamed of making 100,000 gold coins a day.
But what happened next was beyond my wildest imagination.
I sent Birdie Clay to stake out the abandoned mine every day, to watch Aria's every move.
But for a whole month, Aria seemed to be doing nothing.
I thought she had given up. Turns out, Aria was secretly plotting a huge conspiracy. But I had no idea. That day, I started as usual, releasing the dandelion transports. But I suddenly noticed the gold collection speed had slowed down a lot these past 2 days. So I ordered Birdie Clay to start following the dandelion transports to see what was wrong. Suddenly, a shadow flashed
past Birdie Clay and shot down my dandelion.
My gold bean shooter crashed hard to the ground and vanished instantly. I controlled Birdie Clay to see the attacker. It was actually Aria's demon zombie.
And I was shocked to find many survivors in the city,
locked up in places like the basketball court.
The overseer was a zombie I'd never seen before.
I checked a few other cities. The situation was similar. Zombies had taken over completely. Most survivors were locked up in indoor stadiums, and the zombie watching over the humans
seemed able to communicate.
It could even continuously
produce small zombies to work for it.
I was stunned by the zombie's intelligence,
gasping in shock. I also observed
that survivors handed all their collected supplies to a
headless horseman on a horse. The horseman would
vanished instantly upon receiving the supplies, so fast. The eye couldn't follow. Only then did I realize. These zombies were under orders, systematically conquering cities. Thinking of this,
Aria's face popped into my mind.
I never imagined this was Aria's ultimate move against me. My doom is coming. I was hiding in my RV, developing, but my nemesis Aria was expanding like crazy. In just 1 month, she'd
taken over multiple cities. To slow her down, I decided to block all village roads with steel wall potatoes.
I sealed off the entire village. I thought this would cut her off from the outside world. But to my surprise, the Hell General's attack power was shockingly strong. Facing my steel wall potatoes,
vanished like the wind.
Then, wrapped in a biting whirlwind, charged at the steel wall potato. The massive impact shook the ground. Soon, the steel wall potato
was breached. My proud defense was useless, but I didn't give up. I immediately froze it with a frost eggplant.
But in under a minute, the ice broke. I had to use an Arctic eggplant to freeze it again. At the same time, I deployed my most powerful weapon, the pumpkin corn doom tank, and attacked. To be absolutely sure, I launched many jalapenos too. After a full 3 minutes of bombardment, I finally took down one Hell General, thinking there were dozens more of these ferocious zombies. Plus the zombie that summons other zombies, the summoner zombie. If Aria had more time to grow,
it would mean my doom.
Looking at my savings, 2 million gold coins,
I made a risky decision.
Spend 1 million to buy the ultimate plant, the Hope Sunflower. The remaining 1 million I'd use to build a plant fortress. I armored my RV's exterior into an impregnable military stronghold. Even if Aria launched an all-out attack, I could fight back. Our final clash began now.
To counter Aria's ultimate zombies,
I fortified the area around my RV, turning it into a super plant fortress. I set up 10 layers of steel wall potatoes around the RV,
covered with gold Gatling peas.
A full row of pumpkin corn doom tanks was placed. Around the edges, I packed the area with
potato mines and Arctic eggplants to instantly
halt Aria's advance. Finally, using transport dandelions, I deployed a squad of gold Gatling peas in the air. Besides the fortress,
I focused most effort on growing the ultimate crop. My hope was the Hope Sunflower,
but its growth was extremely unique. It couldn't be
system accelerated, and all care had to be manual. But it was worth it. I had a strong feeling it would work a miracle. As for Aria, she was expanding wildly.
According to Buwuni's recent observations, Aria had seized 10 cities. Almost all survivors had submitted to her. Her zombie army may have already exceeded 1 million in number, especially the ones that gave me the biggest headache. 2 types of ultimate zombies, each with 100 of their own. There are still 5 days until my Hope Sunflower matures and is ready for harvest. But inside the mine, Aria unexpectedly discovered that the number of zombies she could control had not increased in all these past few days. The little demon speculated that her own growth attributes might have already reached their limit. If Aria wants to continue breaking through, she must eliminate me and devour my pastoral system. Only then can she surpass her limits. Having learned from the previous 2 failures, Aria didn't act rashly this time. She discussed a foolproof plan with the little demon, preparing to deliver a fatal blow to me. On the eve of our final battle, Aria's empire was fully established. The abandoned mine was transformed by Aria into a magnificent palace. With the Hell General and the zombie commander, Aria recruited numerous talents from all over. Then, using demonic zombies, she captured them and brought them back to the base. This abandoned mine was jointly built by several master architects. Not only that, Aria also emulated ancient emperors by establishing multiple institutions and ministers to manage her empire. The conquered ordinary villagers were forced into hard labor, kneeling on the ground like slaves, every day to greet Aria during her inspections. As Aria surveyed everything before her, a sense of superiority overwhelmed her. She was just 1 step away from realizing her ambition, eliminating me. She and her ministers devised a meticulous battle plan, ready to crush me in one fell swoop. Meanwhile, inside the RV, I waited patiently for the Hope Sunflower to mature. As time ticked by, my special crop farm began to glow with dazzling golden light. The Hope Sunflower had matured. One of the Hope Sunflowers slowly produced a fiery red mini-sun from its bloom. I picked it up, and an unprecedented warmth enveloped my entire body. I checked its effects. This was a fragment of the sun capable of healing and warming everything. Faced with such a description, I was utterly confused. I asked the little fairy, but it just shook its head, unsure of its exact purpose. The other Hope Sunflowers also dropped fragments one after another. I collected them all, and stored them in my bag. After a full day of observation, I concluded that the Hope Sunflower's function was to produce solar fragments, with one dropping every 4 hours. But the exact purpose of these fragments remained unknown to me. Just as I was about to conduct further research, Aria had already led her zombie army, launched the final assault against me. The doomsday battle between me and Aria officially began. I thought it would be a long, evenly matched fight, but to my surprise, Aria overpowered me with an overwhelming advantage.
While I was still studying the sun fragments,
Bunya and I sent a warning. My steel wall potatoes
had 3 layers destroyed.
The special crops on the front line suffered heavy losses. I immediately checked the surroundings. Turns out Aria commanded the Hell General to clear the path ahead, destroying the steel wall potatoes, while the zombie commander kept summoning ordinary zombies to divert my firepower. The remaining zombies took advantage of the gaps in my special crops attacks to destroy my crops. Aria's battle coordination was flawless, to say the least. The advance was much faster than I expected. I immediately deployed the pumpkin corn annihilation tank and fired at the zombie center. The massive explosion instantly wiped out a swarm of zombies, but against the Hell General and the zombie commander, these elite zombies, the firepower was still insufficient. I quickly summoned a horde of frost eggplants, planning to freeze and delay the assault, but Aria was prepared. She stationed flame zombies at the rear.
Whenever a zombie got frozen,
it immediately blast flames to melt the ice. With no other choice, I had to pull out my trump card. I summoned pre-deployed transport dandelions from the sky for a surprise attack, hoping to catch her off guard. At first, it worked well. I took out several Hell Generals and zombie commanders,
but this time was different. Aria joined the fight herself and swiftly countered.
She dispatched a swarm of demon zombies to attack my transport dandelions. Since demon zombies were too agile, the special crops tied to the transport dandelions were quickly shot down. My aerial assault plan failed completely. What made it worse was that my 10-layer steel wall potatoes were down to the last 2 layers. Once the defense broke, my RV couldn't withstand the Hell General's assault. My death countdown began. Aria's ultimate zombies unleashed terrifying combat power. My special crop front lines were utterly destroyed. Now, my RV was completely surrounded by zombies. Aria taunted me from inside the RV.
If I crawled out now and cowed out to apologize, she'd grant me a quick death.
Inside the RV, my breathing grew rapid. I never expected my own mercy to lead to this.
I didn't wipe out Aria before, but now I'm the one backed into a corner.
Staring at the special crops in the warehouse, I decided to fight Aria to the death. Just, I'd rather die fighting than surrender. I summoned all my special crops. Seeing I still refused to give up, Aria commanded the Hell General to launch a death charge, making a final assault on my RV. In my despair, a fairy suggested I throw out the sun fragment. Miracles might happen.
With nothing left to lose,
I loaded the sun fragment onto the turret, aimed at the Hell General, and fired. The sun fragment erupted in blinding light.
The Hell General vanished on contact.
Watching the sun fragment fall to the ground,
A zombie commander, out of curiosity,
touched it with its staff and disappeared instantly. All zombies fled in terror from the sun fragment, forming a circle around it. Suddenly,
the sun fragment flared even brighter.
Zombies were blinded, a whole wave vanished instantly.
Aria panicked. Riding the blood butcher,
she ordered a retreat. I wasn't letting her escape. I kept firing sun fragments, throwing the horde into chaos.
They ignored Aria's commands, scrambling madly, shoving and colliding. Aria clung to the blood butcher,
terrified of falling, until a red-eyed giant zombie
rammed into them from the side. Aria crashed down hard with the blood butcher, dying under her own zombie army's feet. After exhausting all sun fragments, the whole village turned white.
The million-strong zombie army was gone.
Watching my gold skyrocket, I knew
my feud with Aria, past and present,
was settled. As I celebrated,
my ultimate quest quietly unlocked.
My system popped up a hidden endgame mission,
asking if I'd accept. I hit confirm. A prompt appeared. Apocalypse Savior quest activated. Host must gather items to end the acid rain apocalypse. The goal? Collect 100,000 sun fragments to forge an artificial sun and dispel the acid rain. From then on, I lounged in my RV, eating fruit and soaking in hot springs,
living the easy life while using dandelions
to ship special crops worldwide,
eradicating zombies, and earning gold to buy more hope sunflowers.
About a year later, I finally collected all the solar fragments. As I completed the mission, the torrential acid rain gradually lightened, until it stopped completely. The dark clouds in the sky slowly dispersed, and sunlight, unseen for years, bathed the planet for the first time.
The once polluted fish pond also began to clear up.
After using the drone mud to survey the surroundings, I slowly stepped out of the RV. The apocalypse was truly over. The villagers enslaved by Aria had survived because she hoarded vast supplies before her death.
The village chief and his cronies,
having aided Aria in her misdeeds, rid of the mind by united villagers and eventually met her hand to hand zombies.
After the apocalypse ended,
I shared some supplies with the villagers, and was elected as the new village chief, leading the reconstruction. In less than half a year, our village regained its former prosperity. I finally took the RV out again, heading to the beach I'd longed for,
ready to enjoy my holiday.
Just as I was lying there sunbathing, screams erupted from the crowd. People who had been swimming were now frantically rushing ashore. I looked at the sea, a towering black wave surged in the distance. A colossal tsunami blotting out the sky, charging toward me. I sprinted to the RV and drove off, but in an instant,
the waves shredded the beach like paper,
scattering cars like duckweed. I floored the gas, trying to outrun the tsunami. As a massive wave was about to crash down on me, the system's voice echoed in my mind once more. The tsunami apocalypse has arrived. Host, will you accept the mission?